We all know what it feels like to feel lost when there's no direction. It feels a little hopeless. But what happens when there's too many paths in front of us, too many choices to make? This video is for my multi-passionate queens, my dreamers who have so many options in their minds and so many paths to choose from that honestly you completely shut down and you don't actually take action towards one of the paths. Let me help you with some practical tools that have helped me whenever I feel like I have so many choices, so many paths. How the heck do I choose the right one? Will I choose the right one? These questions will be answered in today's video. Come along and join me. Let's talk about why people who have so many choices and paths feel overwhelmed. First of all, know that this is a privilege, and the more privilege we have, the more choices we get. There's pros and cons to this. There is a dark side to privilege when you do have so many paths in front of you, where you can work remote, when you can work hybrid, when you work for a corporation, when you work as an entrepreneur, you can have some side hustles, you can travel. There's so many benefits as you kind of climb up the scale of privilege that sometimes it feels overwhelming. And I know this is like first world problems, but I do think this is a conversation that needs to happen because people are feeling paralyzed. They don't know which way to go and what to choose. And so in order to make this a little bit more simpler for you, I want to talk a little bit about understanding the concept that right now, this choice doesn't mean forever. A lot of the times we stop from making a choice or from making a decision because we really think in our minds that this is the final choice. If we do this, we will be stuck in this choice for 10 years. And while that is true in some occasions, most of the time, it is not the case. Life gets to be fluid, life gets to change, you get to change, and you get to make new decisions and new pathways forward. Release the pressure that this choice that you're about to make, it has to be forever. It's more about understanding what you want now and how you want to feel in this moment in time. So let's get into the first thing that I usually do whenever I am feeling overwhelmed with choices and I'm not sure what to choose from is working on my mindset. One thing I start believing is going from what if this doesn't work out for me to everything works out for me. So no matter what choice I make, it's all gonna work out for me. When you have that mindset, when you understand that concept, you are at peace with any decision that you make. And when you are at peace with any decision that you make, you feel a lot more confident and you're actually able to listen to your intuition more, but more on that later. What I want you to start doing is really ingraining this concept. Everything works out for me. I cannot get it wrong. Period. Full stop. You cannot get it wrong. Everything gets to work out for you. Every choice you make is going to align you to a better opportunity, to something more exciting, no matter what choice that is, no matter what path you take. So that's the first thing I love doing. And honestly, it brings me back to reality, gets me out of my head and into more of this more practical step, which is asking myself, what matters to me at this moment in time, or what matters to me in this next chapter? When I ask myself, what are my non-negotiables? What do I want to feel? How do I want to be? Who do I want to surround myself with? When I get into that visionary state of life design, I'm able to really get clear on the picture. And then I look at the paths in front of me and I ask myself, once I got my non-negotiables down, once I got what I'm feeling down, once I got who I want to surround myself with down, once I have journaled that out completely, I'll look at the paths and ask myself, which path will get me to these feelings, will align with my non-negotiables, will give me opportunities to connect with these types of people. When you ask yourself these questions, those paths and those choices start narrowing down. You're able to kind of cross things off your list and have better ideas of what to choose from. Now, the next thing I like to do is once I kind of get my non-negotiables, and if that's still like not getting me closer, I like visualizing myself in each of those paths. Visualizing myself in what would I be like if I chose this path? What would it be like if I chose this path? And I don't just envision the end results. I envision what it's like to build or achieve that path. What is my day-to-day like in each of those paths? And when I envision that in each path, I'm able to kind of just sit with it, really picture myself every morning, every evening, on a work day, on a weekend, doing the activity or doing the things that need to get done to achieve that specific path, right? When you envision yourself doing the day-to-day in that path, it gets a lot easier to decide if that path is right for you without you even starting to take that path. But if you are just like, I need to know what it's like this is my next thing. I've done this whenever I've, gone to teach English abroad, whenever I go to a new city as a digital nomad, whenever I'm curious about changing careers or starting a new path in a passion project. I reach out to people who've already done it. We live in an amazing time where information is at our fingertips. So whether you actually reach out to people through your network or you reach out through people because you saw them online doing what you love to do or would love to do, or you just watch some YouTube videos of a day in the life or what it's like to do XYZ, you're gonna be able to get a clearer picture of what you need. So if you're like, I don't wanna visualize, I don't wanna second guess, go to the source, ask people who are already there. Ask people who are already doing what you wanna do. How did they get there? How do they feel? What are the cons of it? Don't just ask how amazing it is. Ask them, what don't you like about it? Because you need to ask yourself when you're making these decisions, are you okay with the aspects of the path that are not going to be the best? Because every path has a pro and con. So if you're okay with the path that you decide to choose, the cons of it, you're going to be okay in that path. And that path is probably the one for you. If you look at a path and you're like, I really don't like the cons, the pros are really exciting, but the cons are like getting there feels like too much and not aligned, easier decision to cross that path specifically off your list. When you speak to people who are doing it, and I know it feels scary, guys, but I've hopped on Facebook groups, I've reached out to people on Instagram, and I just ask, and for the most part, people are very kind and people want to share their story. I've never personally had anyone be mean to me when I ask a question like, how is it like teaching here? Or how is it like doing this? Or can you guide me a little bit more how you got here? I've never had anyone be rude to me. At worst, they might ghost me, but they just don't reply, and I'm okay with that. So don't be afraid to ask, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help you. Next thing I love doing, if I ask a few people and I've done the visualization, I've done my non-negotiables, and I still feel unclear, I ask my higher powers. I ask for guidance. I ask for signs. I ask the universe. I ask God. I pray on the situation to make it clear what my path is. We can ask for a specific sign. That sign can be a feather. That sign can be numbers, angel numbers. That sign can be something that is meaningful to you to guide you to that right path. So maybe you're like, I really am thinking about opening a bakery shop, but I'm not sure if I should do it. Universe, source, God, give me a sign. Specifically show me a sun or a moon in a way that I know it's you guiding me to making this decision or guiding me not to making this decision. Sometimes when the sign comes in and you see it and you're like, okay, this feels so exciting that this is happening, you know that this is for you. You know that you're moving forward. If the sign comes in and you're like, oh, I kind of don't like that, the sign also gave you a new answer, which means you don't want it. So that's one way you can do it. Another way I do it, I pull cards, I happen to Oracle. So when you ask your guides, when you ask your higher self, like make sure you also give yourself time in silence. So maybe that's meditation, maybe that's going for walks, maybe that is just being very present in the task that you're doing that day, to hear your inner wisdom, your inner guidance come in, to hear messages come in. Pay attention to your dreams when you've asked for guidance. Pay attention to conversations, and you're going to start picking up certain things that are meant for you to guide you to that right place. You never know what's going to come in when you ask for guidance, and it's always in your favor, as the first step kind of shares, right? So when you ask for guidance, trust that that guidance is truth. Now, this comes to the next step, which is very intertwined with asking for guidance, which is trusting your intuition. There are many paths laid out in front of us, and all these paths are probably aligned with some type of passion or skill that we have, right? Or something we aspire to be. There's a reason why you're feeling all of these paths are meant for you. There's a part of you in each one of these paths. So you feel like, how am I supposed to choose when these paths represent different versions of me and different futures that I could have? This is when you trust your intuition and you ask yourself, you get very clear. If you're not sure how to trust your intuition, if you're not sure how to like tap into your intuition, there are two ways that usually happen. One is when the decision needs to be made. This happens to me all the time. When I need to make a decision, my intuition will be screaming at me to say either no or yes, very clearly. Like, the time is now. There is no more lollygagging. Take action. Or two, I love when I catch it early, and I usually catch it early whenever I am in a movement, right after movement. So maybe that's yoga, maybe that's going for a gym, maybe it's going for a walk. When you've kind of just calmed down, or maybe you're in nature, that's also a really beautiful way. When you've calmed down, when you've kind of feel very grounded, that's when you want to tap into your intuition. And you're going to ask yourself the following: am I meant to go on this path? Yes or no? Feel your body, how it goes forward or back. Feel your soul saying yes or no, and ask yourself for each one of those, right? See what comes up. Maybe a few of them are yeses and a few of them are maybes and some are just absolutely no. Let yourself be there with each one of those. That's all you need to do. Which brings me to the next phase. You do not need to do everything forever, like I've talked about earlier. What do you need right now? That is what you need to ask yourself, because most likely all of these desires, all of these dreams, all of these paths will unfold in some type of way. Not in the way that you might want it to at this moment in time, but in some type of way, because they are linked to you. You are desiring them for a reason, but it doesn't mean that you need to have them all at this moment in time. So let yourself get clear on what you need in this moment, right now, in the next month, in the next 3 months, in the next year. Do not go further than that. Ask yourself that, and that's going to make these paths much clearer. Having this forever trajectory, or like this very big pressure on yourself where I need to decide this forever, is a lot. And know that when you decide, when a year from now comes in, you're going to ask yourself again, like, am I in the right path? If the answer is yes, you're going to feel really good. If the answer is no, a new path will unfold and you'll be able to move into that path, but you'll never know until you start, which brings me into the last point. You cannot be afraid of failure. Failing upwards, always. If you are trying to make decisions and if you have a few different options and you're afraid that you will make the wrong mistakes, but remember, you won't, because everything works out for you. But let's just say at this moment in time, you feel that. It's because you're afraid that you are going to fail in the decision itself, or that the decision is the wrong one, because you have an innate fear of failure. But there's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with trying something and it not working out. You are still worthy. You are still capable. You are still able to do other big dreams. You can still keep going. You are not flaky. You are not someone who, can be relied upon. Like, none of that. You are someone who takes risks. You're someone who says yes to what you're being called to do. And that's really powerful. And that is a skill. And that's something you should absolutely be proud of. When you are failing and you feel like you're failing because you don't know which path to take, let yourself fail forward. If you choose a path and it's not the right path and it didn't work out for you, you're failing forward. You're still closer than where you are now, which is indecision. Indecision creates so much anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of stagnation in your life. And you not only show up with that within yourself, but you show up with that within your friends and your family and the people you love. So when you do not make decisions on these amazing paths that you have in front of you, all you're going to do is hurt yourself even further. Final thoughts on this is go through each one of these steps. Go through the visualization. Ask yourself what matters to you now. Ask people who are in your network. Learn to ask your higher power, God, universe. Trust your intuition. Focus on the present, what you need now, and learn to fail forward. When you go through all these steps, you will have a path. I would love to know in the comments below, what path are you being called to take? Or what do you feel is getting in your way from choosing a path? Thank you guys so much for being part of this community. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.